I'm off my game. I've been sick for the last few days, but I do want to welcome you back to the Horror Syndicate Discourse. Sorry. I didn't have a voice yesterday. That was cool. Anyway, welcome back to the Horror Syndicate Discourse, as I was saying. Shit. I'm going to bring the guys in because I can't talk, apparently. All right, Seth, Nate, sorry. Like every time I try to get going, I start to get ready to cough. And I guess, the flu over the weekend, and my voice is all jacked up. I lost my voice yesterday. So, sorry. Okay. How you guys doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Swell.
Struggling. I don't know if I'm going to make it through the show. All right. Anyway, so if I can make it through this, we're going to be talking about Black Christmas, the Bob Clark film from 1974, and Black Christmas, I don't know who the director is, from 2006, and We Hate White Men from 2019. Black Christmas 2019. That's all that movie is. I mean, legit. You know, Nate, you warned me, and I was like, oh, but I like Imogen Poots. I like Carrie Ellis, and
Yeah.
I got halfway through. I was like, I can't fucking take this anymore. So
yeah, I mean, it was so bad. Like, the women in my room turned it off. It wasn't me. It was my wife and my daughter. Like, this is terrible.
I appreciate, the quality and all that stuff, but like when you overdo it, and the movie becomes more political than it's a fucking Christmas slasher that's over political. That's in my opinion, anyway. I say pass on Black Christmas 2019 if you haven't seen it already. Seth, I know you haven't seen it yet, right?
I have no intention to.
I was like, I probably could. I've seen some bad horror, and this is in a different level, all by
Like,
itself.
yeah, I mean, I know I know a lot about it. I know all the spoilers for it, and I'm just like, nah, it's Black Christmas in name only.
Yeah, I and looking at 2006, where it is closer to a remake, I feel like it kind of can stand on its own as well, in a better way, because there's a lot. I think that was a lot of fun, where 1974 is a little bit slower, and there's a build up. I mean, of course, you get that first jump scare kill early on, but there's still a build and a lot of tension, and of course, there's no way to replace. By the way, do you guys like my bullshit Christmas lights? I tried to do. It's not working. But like, then there's no way to replace what I was going to say is Margot Kidder in that movie. There's no way. They tried in the '06 movie, but she couldn't. She couldn't wipe Margot Kidder's ass. So anyway,
I thought one thing that shocked me about the remake, the first one, um, generally you try to cast or have your actresses look different than each other. And all the brunette, I mean, even though Mary Elizabeth Winstead, there's so many actresses that kind of look alike in the movie
and
that,
they have the one blonde
like,
girl.
yeah, one blonde girl, and who I read was almost Amanda Seyfried, but they didn't want to have two girls from Mean in the movie.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
but yeah, she auditioned and they liked her, but they didn't want to have her and the Party of Five chick in there. So, but it's like, with the Party of Five girl, looks like the girl from, like, was it Euro Trip or one of those other movies that she was
Michelle
known for?
Trachtenberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, they look so much alike. I mean, at least Elizabeth is tall. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is tall, but
Yeah, I
I don't
think
know.
that was kind of the look though at that time, 2005, 2006. straight, boring hair and low cut jeans.
Yeah.
Take me back there, please.
Take you back there.
Yeah, I like 2005, 2006. Alex is here. Hello. Oh, I almost forgot. So I'm off my game a little bit, and I'm still trying to finish my food. So unprofessional. If you like watching me eat French fries from McDonald's, and yes, that's how I say it, McDonald's, please hit the subscribe button.
McDonald's.
McDonald's, yeah. Somebody said I sound like I'm ghetto when I say it. I don't even notice it. It's just McDonald's, yeah.
It's a Missouri thing.
I also say
Mickey
ice
D's.
creamery, so apparently
Ice creamery?
Ice cream. My ex-girlfriend told me that I say certain things weird, and she used to make fun of me about McDonald's and ice cream because I emphasize the "eam" part of ice cream. Whatever.
On ice cream.
Yeah,
For ice cream.
I talk weird. Anyway.
We all do.
Yeah.
All three of us got different accents from different parts of the country.
That's why we need to have Luke on the show more often because balance everything out a little bit. He's got the thickest accent I've ever heard. Anyway, so I want to get some first impressions on the first Black Christmas. Its sequel, Halloween. No. And one of the things that I was going to say about Black Christmas '74 that I really like is the cast. Olivia Hussey. Is it Hussey? Is that how you say her name? Is it? I've always been like, I don't know if I want to call her a hussy or not.
Yeah, it's funny to call her a hussy.
Yeah.
She's not a hussy.
Have you ever seen Psycho 4?
She's Juliet.
Yeah. That you see her boobs in that, don't you?
Yeah.
We saw that in junior high. We were doing Shakespeare, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to show you Romeo and Juliet," and the teacher had no idea. And
she had no idea. I remember we watched it. I think I watched it in my freshman year in high school.
Yeah.
And we read Romeo and Juliet and watched it, and the teacher clearly knew. She goes, "Oh, just so y'all know, there is nudity in this film."
This teacher didn't.
But it's Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
Your teacher just thought, "Oh shit, I'm gonna lose my job."
she made a beeline from the desk to the VCR to try to stop it.
She dove over it, punched the AV kid.
She turned me into John McClane. But
she had her shoes on.
She
was it Commando too.
Yeah, Commando too. But so I love Olivia Hussey. Every time I've seen her in anything, she's really good. But Margot Kidder is fucking hilarious in this movie. And Nate, we were talking about on your Facebook the other day, on your thread, about that scene where John Saxon and that other cop, the fellatio scene, and the one cop is dying laughing. And it's like, I'm watching that. So I paid closer attention this time because I've never been a fan of Black Christmas. But I'm watching that scene, and I can't help but to laugh because he's laughing. And it's like, God damn it, is he really laughing? Did he know about this beforehand? I kept thinking, did they just tell him this on the spot? On the day?
So, I don't know. It's like somebody pointed out, it may have been genuine.
Yeah, I thought it was genuine.
Because they pointed out the scene in Life of, and where they say biggest dickus. And there was an extra who started laughing. He's dressed as a soldier, and he's laughing hard. And Michael Palin walks over to him and just gives him shit because he's the emperor. And it's apparently that was not planned. It was just the guy started laughing, and Michael Palin went with it, just went and responded the way he should have. Because what's so funny? I have a friend named Biggest.
It worked though, man. It really worked. Gave more authentic.
And it's just, I love the guys. It's funny as that is. Just the guys oh, I know, it's something dirty, isn't it? They just start laughing.
Oh, very straight. Yeah. Oh my fucking. By the way,
and that's what's so. this movie is hilarious. Like,
Yeah, I noticed
you
that
talk
this
about
time
the
around.
sequel is very. I mean, the remake is very really comedy and camp, but the original really like I just adore the headmistress lady. Like she's making fun of the girl, she's making fun of the dad, she's making fun of like she just what she say they give her that nightgown and she's like looking at it. We can see her reaction. She's rolling her eyes like, oh shit. And the girl, she goes, oh, I love it, girls. And she goes, I got about as much need for this as a chastity belt. And she sings under her breath. It killed me. And apparently she was inspired by, I think, Bob Ants or something. Like
Oh,
the Bobs are the writers, original writer. I guess he was an alcoholic.
I like that she seemed to have little bottles of whatever hidden all over the house too. I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, this is
Yeah, her and Margot.
Margot was out of control. Like I've seen her in a lot of stuff, Margot Kidder, and my memories of mostly Lois Lane. Lois Lane isn't like a mousy girl, good girl or anything like that, but like I had never heard Margot, in anything talk so dirty, and I felt like I was like, oh my goodness, especially when she started saying fellatio. I'm like,
Fastest tongue in the West.
holy yeah, like holy shit. And this is before any of those movies. So I thought I was a
Yeah,
pleasure.
like her Lois Lane is such a great performance character. Like it's just there's we see these movies. We've seen like the female love interest superhero movies, and there was just something special about Margot Kidder and her performance
Hmm.
as Lois Lane in the movies. There's something just unique. Like she wasn't played as like. I mean, she's an attractive woman, but she doesn't play like sultry or sexy or
Hmm.
like eye candy. I mean, she's kind of a bumbly. Uh, she's a relief character in many ways. I mean, she's kind of funny. I mean, she is hilarious in Superman.
Yeah.
She doesn't play like her character is not traditionally like most just the male lead love interest character is. There's something really unique about. I don't know if it was on the page or it was something Margot brought to it, but it was very unique.
We're not supposed to be talking about Superman, but I've
Oh,
seen a
we're
lot of
talking about
screen
Black
tests.
Christmas.
Right, but I want to
Yeah.
mention I think it's totally Margot because you've probably seen a lot of the screen tests with Stockard Channing, Deborah Winger, I think, all these different actresses that could have played Lois Lane, and you could tell there was nothing there compared to what Margot brought to it. You know, so and I don't know, maybe she got it from this.
Margot's character and some of Margot's presence is very it's like in Black Christmas. She just seems to be unaffected by else. Like she's in her own world. She does what she wants, says what, and that's there's something about that. Like Lois Lane was. She's like she doesn't take shit off anybody, and I don't think
No,
this character takes
outspoken.
anybody. I think this character would step
Barb.
up, and we only see one where she's vulnerable, where she has the asthma attack.
Uh huh.
One time we see her not in control. Man, it's right before she dies. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, and also she had a pretty
which is
awesome
an
death.
amazing shot. Yeah, her destiny is just beautiful. It's very much Dario Argento, and I don't had Dario had even done anything like that yet. It
Yeah,
reminds me
yeah,
of an Argento murder scene or something. Abby,
yeah, because he was,
74.
yeah, he was about 3 or 4 films deep by that
I
point,
guess
and
Deep Red came out that year, right?
Deep Red came out in '75, but he made Four Flies on Gray Velvet, and there was a few others before,
Yeah,
but yeah, Deep Red came in
it was
'75.
very
Yeah,
kind of feels like a giallo a little bit. I
I could
mean,
see that.
police involved. You got color schemes. It's very he really the softness of the lens, the contrast of the use of black. There's a lot of black in the movie. Uh, very crushed black. I mean, it's a beautiful movie. Love the cinematography on this movie.
Yeah, the lighting. That,
Love some lights, Christmas lights. I think.
yeah, compare that to the new movie, the '06 movie. I love the lighting in that movie, the way it looks. There's Christmas lights everywhere. I thought that looked great, the way it was filmed. I'm just a novice, but I thought it looked really good. God damn. That's actually why I got these
My
lights.
favorite moment of
Dollar store.
my favorite move, the lighting in
Oh,
the remake was after Billy gets held on the Christmas tree, and you see
mm,
shadow changing behind her on the wall because the blinking lights going from blue to green, and back you see his body shadow laying dead. So that's a nice little touch. So yeah, the remake does have a lot of good filmmaking choices in it, which
mm.
is sad in some ways because it was like the filmmaker didn't the movie. Like, it was his last feature film.
Was it
He
really?
only did two.
No shit.
Yeah. Uh, he was a producer, but I think he only directed two films. I think he did some X Files episodes or something after Black
Mm.
Christmas, but that was it. That's all he's done. Because he even said that before he made this movie, because his first movie didn't do very well at all. I'm trying to remember, I don't remember what it was.
I'm looking right now.
I know he worked on the Final Destination. He worked on the Final Destination movies.
Yeah, because there are Final
Um,
Destination actors in this that line up with
yeah,
the third movie.
He was the writer of Final Destination, which was originally a episode of the X Files.
Glenn Morgan is his name.
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, before
Yeah,
he
he
made
did
the remake, he
Willard.
said, "If this one, what is it?
Willard.
Willard did the real Willard remake, yeah, with
Yeah.
Crispin Glover, which I remember digging. I remember liking it, but the movie failed, and so when he did this Black Christmas before he started, he said, "If this movie doesn't work, my directing career is over." And it didn't work; it bombed, and he was right.
Which
He didn't direct another film.
he's actually plays a part in the 1986 movie Trick or Treat, the rocker movie. Yeah, I think in time, because God damn it, I'm gonna have to blow my nose in a minute. In time, I think the Black Christmas from '06 will, and I think it's already getting to a point where it's getting more respect. But it's got a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I just saw the numbers. It didn't gross well. If it also came out on Christmas, which like I get why they would do that, but I've only been to the theater once on Christmas, and that was to see AVP 2. Totally worth it.
The only movie I remember seeing on Christmas was Scream.
Bro, really?
Yeah, my
Um,
brother-in-law went on Christmas night,
we got some comments. Let's see. Oh, some
midnight
guy.
showing.
That's cool, Seth. I like Willard remake. And Joe Rogers says it's so good. Okay. Seth, I'm gonna get your thoughts on the original because I think you I can't remember. We talked about it a little bit on the Friday show, and I feel like you kind of have love for both of them, but maybe like the original a little bit more. While you do that, I'm gonna go blow my nose out there so you guys can't hear it, but I'll be right. I'll listen in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I enjoy both the original and the remake. And I've always liked the remake, and I never really understood some of the hate it gets to a certain extent. Like if you're a purist and you're expecting the same thing as Bob Clark's movie, you probably be a little disappointed. But I think the remake is a lot of fun. But I mean, I do love the original a little bit more. I think it's a very good, well-made horror movie. Um, it's definitely slow paced, but yeah, there's a lot of memorable things in it. I like the first kill with the bag over the head to start with. I thought that was really cool, and how it keeps going back to that periodically. Um,
Yeah.
and I like the characters. I I think the first time I saw it, I don't remember if I was really convinced with the whole misdirect of, uh, you know, the whole thing where it was like trying to almost pin everything on Peter. I don't know if I quite bought into that the first time I saw it. It just
They lay it on
but
really thick that it's him.
Well, I mean, he's a
was that
complete asshole.
I said they lay it on that it's him very
Yeah,
like very thick, like
he's a
with the
prick.
piano, and then like John Saxon looking at him after he bumps past him and all that.
Yeah,
It's like it's
who's
very like,
that?
oh, this is the guy.
yeah? Well, and also the little bits that you get of Billy, the hairstyles is the
Yeah,
same, you know. But
which is
yeah,
kind of crazy that guy Keir Delay is in like when I forgot he was Peter, like he was in this movie, and I'm like, how did they get the guy from 2001 to be in this movie? Because it's a slow budget little movie, and he's like he was in literally one of the biggest movies of all time with like Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece, and he's the star of it.
Maybe he
It's
just
like,
likes to work. You know,
wow,
some actors just like to
yeah,
work.
he just likes money. I mean, I know they had him like he had a very tight schedule, and they had to shoot him out early on, so he was only on set very shortly. But it's still kind of impressive that they got him uh, because of where he, I mean, he's probably at that time had been in the biggest film.
Well, and John Saxon was kind of getting to be big at that
Well,
point, wasn't
John was still kind of just a character actor.
he? Yeah,
Yeah, I guess he had just done Enter the Dragon.
yeah.
Not that he was the star of that. It was it was definitely Bruce Lee driven, but um, and of course Margot had just done Sisters with Brian De Palma, and of course Olivia had done Romeo and Juliet. So, but I mean, 2001: Space Odyssey was like a world moving movie, and
Like
the
Avatar.
face of it really. Uh, but he was also, but he was also like, I wonder how old his character's supposed to be because he was almost 40 years old when he did this, and his character's
Is that why he was so
dating
1950s
college
about
girl,
everything? You're having this baby.
I guess. Although he's very Jack Torrance, the greens,
Yeah,
green turtleneck.
he was. I hated that his character, man. He was awful. Like he wouldn't even listen to her at all, or like it's like, hey, buddy, it's the '70s. Women's lib happened already. Yeah, he's definitely my least favorite character in the whole movie. Uh, One of the things that going back to the, the remake is the lack of a police presence. I actually really like that. They were more secluded
Yeah,
because
I
of the
mean,
storm.
one of the big differences, it's they're like this movie, like you could almost compare these two movies like the Dawn of the Dead, like because the
Yes,
Dawn of the
good
Dead,
point.
because Black Christmas takes place over several days,
Hmm.
whereas the remake is all Christmas Day, I think.
Yeah,
So they never really leave the house. Like I said,
no,
there's no police service, there's no,
not to the
if I
end.
remember, a lot of people are in the remake. There's a lot of characters, a lot of deaths, a lot of it's overcrowded a bit. But it's all one day, so that's why it isn't as slow because time isn't really passing. We're kind of in real time in the remake,
Hmm.
whereas it's like 2 or 3 days in Black Christmas, 1974,
Yeah,
and so that's where like the Dawn of the Dead, like because I like the Dawn of the Dead remake, but I really miss the time we spend with Peter and all them and getting to know them, and you feel the passing of time. You feel like you've been with them for a month or a week or 2 weeks, whereas Dawn of the Dead remake is boom, it's all right now, it's over, and there's a lot of characters and there's a lot of stuff going on. where you don't have time to breathe, and
We haven't talked about Dawn of the Dead, the remake, have we?
I don't think so.
We need to. I love that movie. Go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, it's a great movie. The yeah, I mean that's the interesting thing about these two movies, because like the original Black Christmas is very atmosphere driven, and
Yeah,
it's
100%.
very and it's very much like a almost like a mystery type story, you know. And
Like a
whereas
giallo. That's what a giallo is. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly, yeah. and and where the remake goes full slasher, it's all about the
Oh
kills
yeah,
and
yeah.
all that. So
Which
it's got the quicker pace, whereas the first one, it's like the whole catalyst is the girl who gets killed in the beginning, and you know, searching for her, and you know, the phone calls and all that. It's more drawn out because of that. But
Okay.
and
So
I
I'm
know
making a
that
note of
the
Dawn of the Dead right
Weinstein's
now.
forced the remake. The Weinstein's forced the remake to have all those kills and be gorier, and the director didn't want it to be that gory and that violent and that had all those deaths. And but it was the age of the torture porn movie, like 2006. I mean, that's like what was going on with Saul and
Well,
Hostel and all that.
it was early on in the let's remake everything from the 70s also, because right before that you got
Yeah,
Dawn of the Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Amityville Horror. So yeah, it kind of fit. It's like it almost tried to fit in with two different fads with the torture porn and the and the 70s remake things that was going on at the time. I think it also kind of gets lost in the shuffle with some of these too, because when we talk about remakes, horror remakes, good or bad, Black Christmas almost never gets brought up, and I think it's a
I'll
good remake. Oh, Hills Have Eyes also was another one
I
that was remade around that time.
yeah, Hills Have Eyes was great. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, totally honest. I was not a fan of the remake when it came out. Like I just like Seth talked about. Like I guess I expected Bob Clark's movie in some way, and it really was totally different. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? This is like they just. I mean, at the time I thought, well, this isn't the movie that it's supposed to be, and it affected the way I responded to it. So when I watched it, I was actually looking forward to watching it because I had not seen it since 2006,
Sound like me watching
and
Texas
I didn't.
Chainsaw 3. This is what I wanted.
I but I did enjoy it this time watching it, and I was
Yeah.
there were things that I liked about it and things I didn't, and some of the things I don't I think are problems I kind of like some of the violence, like that whole sequence at the end where they're like falling in the cross like the
That was
wall and all this shit was awesome. Like there were some really
yeah.
cool ideas
It was
and
tense too.
it was
Like
tense. It was violent.
yeah. Damn
The
it.
ice skate death, the throwing the ice skate at the
Yeah, that
girl's
was
head.
cool.
There's a lot of really cool stuff, but it's some of the sequences are so fastly, like so rapidly cut
yeah,
that it doesn't feel like it's in the hands of a good filmmaker. And maybe it is. Maybe this guy was kind of interested. He was. It's in those moments where it's impactful, but it's too much. There's a pacing problem, or it's just too much. It's too much at once, and it's over, and you're like, what? Just fuck it. Oh, I think I caught all that, but there's so much happening in
Yeah,
the
I mean,
frame, so much shot that it feels. It's not amateurish because an amateur wouldn't do as well as that, but it's not expert.
it's
It's
like I was gonna say also things like that sex tape that the girl's watching. I couldn't tell that was the girl that was watching it on
too
there,
many,
and I'm like,
yeah,
what's the point of this? And
too many
it
people that
took
look
forever.
alike.
Yeah, right. That's to your point earlier. But yeah, like that was one of the things I didn't like was it was building up to something that was totally forgotten for me because so much keeps happening at a rapid pace. But
One other big difference between the two films is Bob shot Black Christmas very tight. There's a lot of close-ups.
mm,
The camera's moving around a lot
Yeah.
but it's in a small. And I think they shot in a real house, so that could be part of it. They didn't have a whole lot of room. Older houses, this kind of the way they built. And like the scene where they're listening to the phone call when he's saying that awful shit. It's all one take, and he's covering all the girls, and he's moving in. He does a lot of the camera's almost always moving, going to girl to girl to girl to girl,
Mm-hmm.
and then he'll zoom and he'll pop by. I'm like, damn, that focus puller must have been because of the lens. I mean, it's just really good, but it's like I just love the colors. I love the grain. I love the softness. But everything is very claustrophobic. And there's almost an instinct when you have a movie where you're in this big, large house, which is a character upon itself, to shoot more wides. But I don't know if they had the space to do it wide. Whereas the remake has a lot of wides, and I don't think it's as attractive or as interesting to look at as Black Christmas is, where all these characters tend to be kind of crowded together in the shots. Uh, there's rarely any one shot, or unless it's a close up. If there's a group of people, we may see everyone in that shot, or at least 3 or 4 people in that shot, bunched together. And I don't know, I kind of like the look of it better than the
Well,
remake.
it's even like that in some of the scenes in the police station, like when they go to report, and Margot gives the fellatio thing. The only one that's kind of a wide shot, it's kind of a tight wide. I don't know how to explain it because it's like, you know, it's on the side of the desk and you can see past everybody, but like it's still kind of tight there.
Yeah, well, you got
But
like John Saxon in the foreground,
yeah,
and the other guy cop across behind him. I mean,
well,
it's a tight shot
one
for
of the things
two.
that's good about tight shots though is the mystery of what is around you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can see
Yeah,
everything on the wide shots. Like when they're all in the living room in that big ass couch in the remake, there's no like, anybody could be anywhere. Where in Black Christmas, like one of my favorite shots, and I use this picture a lot whenever I talk about Black Christmas, is when Olivia Hussey is standing at the door with the wreath, lighting her up with the red, watching the carolers. And there's a lot of that zooming you're talking about. That you're making that motion in bed like this, by the way. Uh, but yeah,
that's how big it is.
yeah.
But
but, but yeah, that was one of the things I noticed was they zoomed in on her and pulled back quite a bit on that one shot. And that's
yeah,
probably one of my favorite shots of the entire movie. It's lit
it's weird.
well.
I
You don't
didn't.
know what's going on in her brain. Well, you do. She's thinking about the baby and all that shit.
Yeah, it's weird. I didn't even like because I'd only seen this movie maybe 2 or 3 times, and when I was watching it last night with my wife and daughter, like that scene with the carolers, like I have a scene just like that in my Christmas short, and I didn't. It.
I,
I didn't even copy it because I thought because I was trying to come up with a reason why someone would get into the house or how they would get in the house, and one of the villains is the Christmas caroler.
yeah.
And so, and my character's, a brunette opening the door. These characters are these carolers dressed like Dickens carolers, dressed like a Christmas Carol type costume, and they're singing "Oh Holy Night," and she's crying, and there's a reason she cries when she listens to it. And I thought, oh shit, did I subconsciously take this? Like, I had no idea that scene was in this movie. Oh
Well,
shit.
I was actually going to bring
Um,
that up because I looked it up just a second ago to see if it was streaming anywhere. You can see Nate's. It's called what was it, Fear for Sinners here?
Fear for Sinners here, Volume Split 2. It's not a Christmas anthology, it's an
No.
anthology of different holidays. And I did the opening, which isn't a holiday, and then I
Yeah.
did the Christmas segment, which is like maybe the fourth short in or third or fourth short in.
It's it's
Uh,
it's it's one of the best segments on the movie. So yeah, check
it
it out.
was when I was making it, some of the movies I had in my head as I was writing it, that were popping in my head were All Through the House from the '72 Joan Collins version of Tales from the Crypt,
Hmm.
and in the movie Inside, because it's a home invasion short, and all three of these movies are home invasion movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do love that Carolyn scene. But the whole time watching, fuck, I didn't take this, did I?
It's okay. It worked. I didn't when I saw
It's
your
different.
movie. I
It's
didn't think
different.
about that. So the one thing that struck me about your short was the coat that she was wearing and how it hit her face well, and it gave you this creep vibe. Looked like
I have to
she.
give that. I have to give that up to Barbie Clark, the costume designer. I designed the character, but I drew her with a bonnet. I wanted her face hidden, but I had the old school bonnet that would hide and shadow her face. But Barbie said, "What about a hood?" Like I was like, "Oh, kind of like a Jedi kind of thing." Where the like she's
It
like, "Yeah."
reminded me of a Hoth coat from Empire. Looked like she just got finished. I could take on the Empire myself.
um, but I love like we talked about first impressions of this movie, and I probably saw it in the early 90s, like 91, 92, somewhere around there. And what I remember was I remember feeling very creeped out by the movie, and I think because of the use of sound,
Mm-hmm.
Bob's use of sound in this movie is really great. And the of course Billy, his calls, trims, his it is fucking creepy. It's some of the creepiest shit. Roman Chimienti, who we should have had on the show because he had talked about doing Black Christmas, and Roman, if you're watching, I'm sorry we didn't have you. He had pointed out the soundtrack. I guess they put the soundtrack on vinyl. It has the phone calls on the soundtrack. So if you just listen to the music and those phone calls, and you're not watching the movie, but you just listen to it in your earphone, it is pretty creepy and terrifying, messed up shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even in the movie, like watching it, you're like, oh my god,
Yeah,
fucking. And I know that I don't know if you've ever seen The Sleeper. It's an indie, deep indie film from
yeah, I saw that.
2012. Yeah, Justin Russell tried to kind of recreate that a little bit with the character The Sleeper, but nothing beats Billy's phone calls in Black Christmas. And I'll tell you, man, I still love the way Margot Kidder handles him. it's
Yeah.
it's the highlight of
Well,
the movie in my
let's see
opinion.
just of all those girls listening to it,
Mhm.
and they weren't hearing
Put
that.
on a speakerphone.
That was all post production stuff. It was actually just Bob Clark
Mhm.
yelling at them or saying something on set. So all that stuff about all the the dirty language and the filthy, sexy stuff that he was saying wasn't being said on set. But I just remember like the POV shots being those are the scariest POV shots of a killer I think I've seen. I think Friday 13th don't even come close to how just like him climbing up the trellis to get to the attic, and when he's in the attic, the way it's so dark, you see like the rocking horse and all these other things in there, and he's like, yeah, and then just there's something so morbid, but it's also so beautiful with that girl in that bag over her head in the rocking chair. It's really fucking disturbing, but also beautiful. The lighting, the window behind her, some striking imagery. That's probably my favorite imagery in the movie. Is actually that girl in the attic.
Yeah.
I like that. The only thing that it bothers me about that, and it's really not the scene or anything about that, is they use that on the poster. Even from
Yeah,
before it was even called Black Christmas, because I think it was called Silent Nights or something like that before, and they still had that image on the poster, which is terrifying. But it's like, what are you gonna say, Seth?
I don't remember.
They did do a sequel. It's called Halloween. That's
I think I read that he going to make a sequel after the remake came out. He was talking about it or working on something, and then like 1 year after the remake came out, Bob and his son were killed in a car accident. Driver hit them head on. and killed them.
Yeah.
But I think they were in talks of Bob Clark in an interview talked about that Halloween. Did you see that where he said that Carpenter really like loved Black Christmas and was like was maybe going to work on a movie Carpenter had written, and they met and John said, "Well, were you ever going to do a sequel to Black Christmas?" And he said, "Yeah, no, not really. He didn't want to. Black Christmas was going to be his last horror film. He didn't want to make any more horror films because it was like his third horror film." And he said, well, "What would you do if you did?" And Bob told him, "Well, I'd probably have where Billy got caught and he was institutionalized, and then he breaks out the following fall and finds the girls at the sorority house, and I was going to call it Halloween."
So wait, did he actually said that?
That's what he said in an interview. He goes, "But John," he goes, I don't. John didn't steal. He took a germ of an idea and he turned it into something brilliant. He liked Halloween.
But he was also hired onto the project. Not, you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, yeah, because Erwin Yablon said he came up with the Halloween title, and
So maybe he's the one to blame. Like,
yeah, but
I
they
love Black Christmas.
but Halloween and Black Christmas pull from the same fucking urban legend, just as the
Yeah.
killer
Cool,
upstairs with the
Psycho
babysitters and all that.
Also,
So
Yep.
yeah,
and Peeping Tom.
so everything's related. I
So
mean,
that's how
if you listen to
Bob
Dan
Clark got into
O'Bannon, Dan says that John stole from a student film he did, and was it Hudson's Release at USC, where Dan O'Bannon played a guy stalking somebody, and it was very reminiscent of Michael Myers, and John was a big fan of it when they were in college together.
Mm.
So I mean,
I didn't realize fucking he made the Porky's movies.
yeah. Oh, and what's wild is I was thinking about that with Porky's. Black Christmas came out same year as Texas Chainsaw, and Texas Chainsaw and Black Christmas kind of are the start of the teenager horror movies.
Oh, come
where
on.
there are teenagers
This
being
is the
stalked.
start of it right here.
Well, yeah, he did
The
that
original
too.
Bob Clark. I love that movie, by the way.
But Porky's also kind of invented the teen sex comedy movie that became huge in the 80s.
Yeah.
Porky's was kind
You
of the
wouldn't
first
have
to do
American
that.
Pie without it.
So yeah, Bob, and we got to mention Christmas Story, which is next, probably the best in my other than it, like It's a Wonderful Life. I just adore A Christmas Story. And these two movies kind of have a similar look. There's a similarity to me. I've always felt look wise.
I don't like A Christmas Story.
I love A Christmas Story. But like I was reading, Leonard Maltin said it's the perfect film. It's like I agree. I think it's a perfect film.
It's again for me. It's the oversaturation of seeing that movie because my family would have it on. On TBS would play it for the whole day of Christmas or whatever.
Plays it 24 hours.
Yeah, and so
I
it'd
never
be
get
playing
tired
in
of
the
it.
background. Yeah, I fucking hate that movie so much. I loved it when I was a kid, but like too much of let's just like Shaun of the Dead. The reason I don't like Shaun of the Dead is because I saw it too much. So unfortunately, Christmas Story is the same thing.
I watched the Bob Clark movie today for the first time. It was one he made after Black Christmas called the Murder Decree, or it's a Sherlock Holmes movie where he's hunting Jack the Ripper, and Christopher Plummer plays Sherlock Holmes. James Mason plays Watson, and Donald Sutherland was in it, and David Hemmings was in it.
David Hemmings.
It was pretty good.
I'm really disappointed Scott Montgomery's not here to talk about Death Dream the whole time we're talking.
Death Dream's a good movie too.
Well, he talks about that shit every time we get on here. He's like, "You guys ever see Death Dream?" It seems like it anyway.
Well, Death Dream kind of reminds me when I saw it. It doesn't remind me. It came way before it. Maybe Stephen King ripped it off, but does a Timmy Baterman movie? It's like if it was it's like that. Like the guy comes home from Vietnam and he's basically the undead, but he comes home to his family, and it reminded me of that a bit. But I've only seen it once, but I did really like Death Dream. I like it more than Children Shouldn't Play with Dead
What's
Things.
Death Dean?
I think he's maybe
Dream.
misspelled Death
Oh,
Dream.
okay.
And Death Dream's awesome.
Is that a supernatural thing, Death Dean?
I did find out about a movie that he produced in '75, the year after this, called Moonrunners, and it was basically Dukes of Hazzard. Dukes of Hazzard was
Before Dukes
made
of
off
Hazzard?
of yeah. Dukes of Hazzard was made based upon this film. So much so that when they made the Dukes of Hazzard spoof remake or whatever with Ashton Kutcher and all that, Bob Clark and that team sued them. They won. I don't know if it was not approved or whatever, but their character in this movie, there's names like Roscoe, Pete or Coltrane, and stuff like that.
Boss
and
Hog, man.
and it stars Robert Mitchum's son, I think, who did Thunder Road, of course, Robert Mitchum. But I can't find it. It's not streaming anywhere. I guess I'd have to buy a DVD. There's probably a DVD out there, but all I could find were like trailers and clips on YouTube.
It's called Moonrunners.
Moonrunner. It's a moonshining. It's Dukes of Hazzard, baby.
Are they from Hazard County? Greg and Bobby Lee Hagg. Uncle Jesse Hagg. Wow, yeah, Uncle Jesse.
Yeah, there's Uncle Jesse. There's Roscoe Coltrane.
There's the bad guys are the Syndicate. Go figure. Cooter Pettigrew, Roscoe Coltrane. Yeah.
Cooter, Roscoe Coltrane.
Wow.
So I've never heard of that.
I wonder if Beth Ann Eubanks.
It must not be any good.
Yeah, Jesus. Okay. Yeah. So
it's Dukes of Hazzard, right?
Yeah. Well, I click on one of the characters' name, which is Beth Ann Eubanks. It's Daisy Duke. It takes you straight to her page. So yeah, fantastic. Catherine. Whew, she was hot. All right. Yeah. So that one's not available, huh?
Well, I didn't see it streaming anywhere, and it's not on YouTube.
The Revenant 2009 is a good horror. I don't think I've seen that.
That was the one that was like a zombie, like Russian or German kind of thing, like Nazi.
I gotta be honest, Luke. That doesn't surprise me for some reason. His family stilled moonshine. I don't know why that doesn't surprise me.
I'm from Kentucky, man. I'm sure there's somebody in my blood.
Right. He should make a short movie and star as the top moonshiner with his thick accent. There's Reynolds has a friend that we went over their house. It's like one of the oldest houses in the town I live in, and she's got the mom of Reynolds' friend. She's like, "Oh, you got to see my basement." I'm like, "Okay." So we get out of the basement. It's just a regular concrete basement. And she's like, "Wait, check this out." And there's a door, and I'm like, "Oh, it's just another room." She opens the door, and there's a staircase to go to a second basement. She's like, "This used to be a speakeasy." I'm like, "For real? How cool is that?" She's like, "Yeah, we're gonna do it up like an old speakeasy." I'm like, "That's so cool." Anyway, that has nothing to do with anything.
Well, one person we haven't talked about in the movie is Andrea Martin, who
was in the remake as well.
She was the head mistress in the remake, but I remember her from SCTV. I mean, anybody watch SCTV?
Mm-hmm. I don't even know.
It was the Canadian Saturday Night Live, basically. That's where
John.
It's Second City TV. It's John Candy.
Yeah.
Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara.
Rick Moranis is who I'm thinking of.
Rick Moranis. Yeah. What was the show? What's the name of the characters?
The brothers.
The brothers, Dave Thomas and Rick Moranis. Why am I blanking on their name?
I know what you're talking about.
Strange Brew, yeah. Oh God, Dave and I forget their names. Anyway, yeah, and that's where like Mark Short did the Ed Grimley. I must say, but I used to Joe Flaherty and Captain O'Hara. and Andrea Martin was like on there, and that's what I knew her from. And she doesn't really look. This is before SCTV, Black Christmas was, so she wasn't really
She had
that
an afro in
person
this.
yet.
I mean, you could like when I was watching the remake, I was like, is that really her? Because her hair is so different, and of course she's aged, almost 30, actually over 30 years. But I don't know. We put an
She looked
afro
very
on and
different
see if
in
that's the
Black
right person.
Christmas. Even though I knew who Andrea Martin is, I was watching Black Christmas the other night. I'm like, that girl looks like Andrea Martin a bit. Is it? Yeah.
I went to grade school with Andrea Martin. Not that one, but another. Anyway, yeah, she was one of those characters in the beginning of the movie. You're watching it and you're like, kind of forgettable, but she hangs around the whole fucking movie pretty much. Like when I first saw her, I did not expect that. She just looked like would be cannon fodder essentially, but no, she hung around. I'm sorry, I'm looking her up right now. 75 years old. Holy shit. She was in Foxy Lady and Cannibal Girls. Fantastic. All right, I gotta stop taking this medicine. This medicine's making me space out. All right. Is there anything else we want to talk about with the two movies? There's I like that you could watch either one of them, in my opinion, without having to compare the two. Really, one of the things I wanted to mention about that I liked in the in the remake is going back in the past of how uh Billy and his mom and his sister daughter and then the whole
Agnes.
scene where yeah and well that you didn't expect that she was I didn't expect that there was a second killer, but I kept thinking there's a second one. I know that I can tell. Plus, at the beginning of the movie, they kind of set it up where that
Yeah,
Santa
because
guy looked
Billy
like
was
it
still in the
was.
asylum.
Yeah, so it was like, how is this all happening? So I thought they did that really well, and I like that she was crawling. It was like people under the stairs, crawling through the whatever's in the walls. And I like the scene where the drunk girl, going to take a shower, and she keeps pushing up the tile and using, looking with her eye, watching. I thought that
Yeah.
was kind of fun. There's some clever things in this movie. I liked. I also liked the Kyle, I think was his name, the guy, how he was trying to, get his girlfriend and
Yeah.
all this different stuff, and she finds out that she slept with the one girl, and they freak out. You bunch of bitches, and funnily enough, this guy he played Kyle, somebody named Kyle in multiple projects. By the way, I guess he just screams
Oh
Kyle.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But I don't know. I like the '06 version quite a bit, to be honest.
I think
I'd
it's
like
a
it to
better
still
movie
be
than its
really,
reputation.
yeah,
I do think it's a better
and
movie than its reputation. I think it's
yeah,
just it gets hurt by being a remake.
yeah. I agree. Well, it also came out in that time where I don't think a lot of these remakes from '03 to 2000 before I guess Rob Zombie's Halloween were very well received anyway. I mean, I didn't like most of them, so. But like
Yeah.
as I get older, I like them more. Like I hated the Texas Chainsaw one. It's tolerable now. The Amityville one is unforgivable. But I loved Dawn of the Dead when that came out, and The Hills Have Eyes was fantastic.
Well, it was
And
like around this time started pumping out a lot was like in a lot of mediocre ones. So you had like the Fall remake, which is atrocious,
I forgot
and
about
like
that one.
when a stranger calls, which is not terrible, but it's not good, and then
It was different.
prom night, which may be the worst. Maybe I don't know. April
I,
Stars,
I I've never seen the April Fool's Day. They did April
April
Fool's Day.
Fools. I don't even ever bothered with that one.
I didn't see it either.
Um, they made Willard, of course, like we mentioned, he did that one.
I mean, yeah,
Um,
My Bloody Valentine. I mean, like for a decade straight, like from 2000, like
tons.
Yeah, it's like from like about 2002, 2003 to about 2012, they were just pumping these remakes from 70s and 80s movies out, and it was like head spinning with some of them. You know?
Toolbox Murders. There were so many that like some of them just fell through the cracks. Like,
Yeah.
they remade Mother's Day.
Did they?
Like, and it was bad. I remember actually liking the Mother's Day. It's nothing like the Corman, or was it Trauma or Corman
Trauma.
movie? Can't remember. Trauma
I know
movie.
it's trauma,
Like,
but could be both.
yeah, it's a trauma movie. That's right. Because it was like, wasn't it like Lloyd Kaufman's brother who made it or something?
It's something like that. It
Um,
was. I don't think it was. I think they bought it though. I don't think it was
but
made
the
under
the
trauma.
the remake was more straightforward, and Rebecca De Mornay plays the mother, and she's pretty. It's more of a thriller.
I haven't seen that
She
one. I
plays a
didn't know it
more.
existed.
I remember liking it. Uh, it doesn't have the charm of the original, but I remember liking it. But it's played more straight than
Yeah,
Mother's
you're
Day.
right. It is Charles Kaufman, Lloyd Kaufman's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know there was a remake. 2010.
They remade 2001 Maniacs around that time.
Oh, Jamie King's in it. Rebecca De Mornay, Deborah Ann Woll, Sean Ashmore. Wow. Oh, Silent Night, Deadly Night got a remake in 2012 also. Called Silent Night.
Did it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually better than I thought it would be. I think it's the best film in all the series, to be honest. It's not a bad remake. Last House on the Left, yeah, that got a remake as well. I don't like the first one, the original Last House on the Left.
I think the Last House remake was actually really good.
It was, yeah.
It was. The only thing I could say against it is, David Hess is kind of irreplaceable.
Yeah.
But other than that,
it,
the it's a better made movie. It's a better acted movie.
Did they make somebody piss their pants? Piss your pants.
I mean, the Last House one has Jesse from Breaking Bad in it, doesn't he? Isn't he in it?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's got. I know.
He's like the son character or whatever.
Yeah, the younger one. Yeah. What's his name? I can't think of his name. But
Ribbit.
I don't know. I never really liked Last House on the Left in general. Sarah Paxton. I'm trying to think who the main character was. Of Sarah Paxton.
Sarah's the that's the girl from Innkeepers, right?
Aaron Paul. Yeah, she's an Innkeeper.
Aaron Paul is from Breaking Bad.
Monica Potter was in it, and I guess she was the mom.
She was the mom, Monica Potter, with her and Tony Goldwyn.
Yeah, which I think they're very much the big age difference, because I still thought of Monica Potter as young. Because she's only
Hunt,
51.
the guy from Raising Arizona or Raising Hope, was the Krug character. Remember, like Dillon Hunt.
Yeah, Garrett Dillahunt.
Hunt.
Yeah, I can't stand that guy.
I love him in No Country for Old Men, though.
Who'd he play?
Oh, Sheriff, we just missed him. He played the deputy. He was him and Tommy Lee Jones. And he comes in to Lewis' trailer. And he's like, he goes, look at that. That's frustrating. He goes, the milk's still sweating. Oh, he was just here. He goes, we got to call this in, Sheriff. He goes, what are we going to say? All points bulletin. A man who has recently drank milk.
Yeah. I remember that. So, okay. Nate, you saw the 2019 Black Christmas.
I saw maybe 30 minutes of it.
That's about as far as I got.
And we were on vacation. We were at a hotel. I said, hey, look, Black Christmas is coming on. I haven't seen this. Let's watch this. And we're watching it, and it's just like, guys suck. Guys are terrible. Guys are horrible. Here's Carrie Elwes. He's bad, too. He's the teacher, and
one character was trying to petition to get him fired.
Yeah,
petition to get something removed from the history of
like every fucking scene
in that
girl. And I'm like, and here's like, I hate people constantly crying about woke. oh, this movie's woke, this movie's
Yeah.
woke, and half the time it's not. It's not even that big of a deal. So I'm usually like the one like fighting against people crying about woke and messages and all this stuff. And this movie is as guilty as anything is of just pushing their narrative in your face constantly. Like, okay, get it. Like, okay, this is what you all should be. Like most movies aren't this.
Yeah.
I get it. If they were all, I would get your cries. Most of them aren't. This one is just that's the point of the movie. Is the, and I feel ashamed because there could have been a good movie, and Imogen Poots is usually always good,
The trailer
and
did,
I don't
like,
think she's bad in the movie. It's just like
no, the trailer looked like that. I thought the trailer made it look like it was could be a decent slasher movie, but they're so fucking preachy. It's like, come on. Like, I get it. She's the not Imogen Poots, but the I can't remember her name. She's the activist character, but Christ, it seemed like she had every one of those girls under her thumb. And the one thing that pisses me off is whenever, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say it pisses me off, is whenever she'd be like, somebody would be like, oh, you girls, and she's like, women, and that's fine, but you can't be
yeah,
calling your friends bitches if you're saying women. You can't turn around and call them bitches then, because that just negates the need to be called a woman, calling other women bitches who are your friends. That's fucking stupid. So, whatever. That movie, I bought it for $5 because I wanted to have all three. I have two. I got to have all three of them, and I'll probably never watch it again. And I didn't even get all the way through it because
I
it
wanted
just
to give it another
too much.
chance for the show. I wanted to give it a chance for the show, but the only way was to pay for it. Nah, for it.
Yeah. And you know what? Even if it was
There's
free,
no
you're
one
still
streaming it for free. So
even if you're watching it free, you're still paying for it. So it's really like, I hate
yeah, I mean you're
being
paying for the
that
service,
negative about a movie, but
but
it's it
but I don't want to pay
it's
$4 to watch it again.
no, I don't want it even in my collection now.
So you guys didn't make it to the supernatural twist.
No, I heard about that, but I got
No, I don't know.
the
I don't have a clue
the part that
what
got me,
happens.
Nate, and you, I don't know if you got this far or not, but the part that got me was they were in the kitchen making dinner or something like that, and one of the girls was like, I didn't know it was this easy to make ham, so it makes her look like a fucking idiot when they're still preaching for, anyway. But the guy's like, Jesus, like the one guy's boyfriend, and he bitches about the way they're bitching about everything, and then they kick him out of the house and make him seem like he's a complete asshole. I was like, okay, I'm done. They can't even listen to reason. They're just like, oh, did you just, what is it? Did you just
Well,
shush me? Like, fucking
it's
shut up.
it's just bad writing because you're just
Yeah.
not supposed to be right on the nose. I mean, it's like it was every fucking scene had to have that message in there, and there were no redeemable men in that whole movie.
Well, the one guy that had been on their side that whole time seemed like he could have been redeemable, but they tore him down too. So, and it's just,
Which you get people like I mean I've had people, some people when they're it is this activist stuff like that, sometimes they make enemies out of allies.
yeah, that's what they
Like
did.
you could be 99% aligned with them, and you have that 1% where it's like, well, fuck you, you're the problem, you're the piece. It's just like, wait, no, like, give me a minute, let me explain. No, you're just like all of them. Like, no.
Yeah, they didn't even give him a chance to explain. They just got pissed, and I'm like, that is exactly what's wrong with what's been going on these last few years. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, you attack your allies, and like not
Yeah,
everybody is. I mean, some people, no one is no one is fully aware of your problem because they're not you or
Mhm.
what you deal with. They haven't walked in the mile in your shoes. So not every, people could be sympathetic with you without not necessarily 100% understanding your life and your problem and your ordeals. But they could if you would give them a chance and not yell at them and bark at them the whole time.
Right.
Just write them off as the enemy over one miss, like you said the wrong word, or you you said, you know, woman.
I think he said relax at one point, and that just was like lighting a fucking short fuse bomb. It was like, oh my god, I
I was
couldn't
just telling you what
handle.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood tells people.
Right,
Relax.
Frankie
Don't
said
do it.
relax. Don't do it. Like in Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
Relax.
Was it Robert Schimmel? Uh,
Yeah, that I don't know, man. I am, especially with the show. I've really gotten to where I want to, give things more of a chance. Like we talked about. I didn't like Black Christmas, the original, almost at
yeah, you said
all.
a lot of times you didn't like Black Christmas. Thought it was
Yeah,
overrated.
it was a snooze fest. I thought it was overrated. Yeah, all this different stuff. I don't think it's the best Christmas horror Christmas movie because
That's
Gremlins is.
Gremlins.
Yeah, but yeah. Spoiler alert for my list that's coming out tomorrow. But there are some other good ones Better Watch Out from 2016 is really good if you haven't seen that. And I know Nate, you don't like Krampus, which is actually what we're talking about next week, right? Krampus. I think we talked about
Crap.
that.
No,
Krampus,
Krampus.
Krampus. But no, I gave Black Christmas a chance. I tried to watch it with more of an open mind, and yeah, I enjoyed it a little bit more. I still don't think it's the best Christmas horror movie.
You know,
It's
one
always
thing what jumps me out with the original is how many times because Olivia Hussey go, hello, hello, hello. It's like you could do a drinking game on how many times Olivia Hussey says hello, and like at top bulk, like she yells it, hello, what, who, hello. That's our comment there from Steven.
so. Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention this. If it's Bloody Christmas, Christmas Bloody Christmas wasn't too bad on Shutter. But let's rank these.
That's a good order right there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I think I prefer the '06 version a little bit more.
You
Um,
prefer what?
the '06 version of Black Christmas to the
Oh.
'74 version. I do have more respect for the '74 version now, but I had a lot of fun watching the '06 version, and I liked a lot of the deaths, like the girl's kicking the door open and knocks her into the fucking house, and the icicle falls on her head. I was like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. Like it was just a fun ass movie, in my opinion. Here's another thing I made. Yay. I'm trying to make it was different stuff. So, uh, which girl did you like the best?
Oh, Olivia.
Yeah, I do like Katie Cassidy quite a bit, though. She was in Supernatural.
Yeah, I remember Supernatural and Nightmare on Elm Street.
She was the better Ruby. Yeah, and she
Yeah.
was in Arrow also. But yeah, I think I don't think if we go around the table saying suggestions, do you suggest Black Christmas 1974, which is available on Shutter? Seth, do you suggest it? Make the
It's
suggestion.
required watching.
It's required watching. What about
Absolutely.
2006? Would you suggest that?
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's worth a watch. As long as you go into it not expecting the same type of story or
Mm.
same type of filmmaking style as the original, and just to kind of embrace it as a fun slasher movie.
I still
I
think it's
think
shot
you'll.
really well, though.
I think
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
2006.
I'm just. I was just saying, like in terms of like, as far as I don't know, I guess like with the filmmaking being more I don't know. Lost my train of thought, so never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, Gremlins is still king.
It's more of a the filmmaking is more modern style
Oh yeah,
filmmaking.
for
Like
sure.
the cuts, cut.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That they can both stand on their own. Like,
Yeah,
and I like the the comparison to Dawn of the Dead. You know, where
uh,
Dawn of the Dead '78 is fucking absolute classic. Where I guess Black Christmas is too. Where Dawn of the Dead '04 is a fun, fast paced, different type of movie like Black Christmas '06 is. So yeah,
I think 2006 is kind of like in that malignant space where it's just really wacky.
what do you
It's
mean? Oh,
wackier
the
than
movie
like
*Malignant*.
the movie
Oh,
Malignant. How whack
you're
this.
getting, being a doctor here. That's like
No, like
*Malignant*.
it's a wacky movie. I mean, you got a
Yeah,
guy who has jaundice and he's yellow skinned. You know, like
yeah, I
there's so
know.
many weird like a person who
So
eats eyeballs and
he
makes
probably would have died a long time ago if he had that much liver problems and he was that
the
yellow.
yeah. Well, the killers are so they're cartoonish.
Yeah,
There's a cartoony nature to this movie compared to the original, where Billy is just really fucking schizophrenic, fucked up in the original movie. He's like a very highly disturbed human being, whereas in the remake, they are cartoon characters in
yeah,
some ways.
yeah.
Everything about it is very. It's almost it's like a slasher Tim Burton movie or something. Like everything's kind of it's more stylized and the characters are stylized and everything's pushed to 11 in terms of the gore or the elaborate killings and making Christmas cookies out of fish and it, um, and because of that, if you go into it as y'all keep saying, not expecting Bob Clark's movie, but a quirky slasher romp party movie in some ways. Although I don't find the girls very interesting, if anything.
They're cannon fodder,
I
man.
don't
They're
find that
they're there to
interesting.
be killed.
I don't as funny as Andrea Martin was on like in her career. I don't find her as entertaining as the woman in the 1974 movie.
No, not at
There's
all. No.
there's nobody in it as entertaining as Margot Kidder.
We didn't talk about
There's
the scene when did we mention when the one girl's dad comes to get her and she goes into
yeah.
her room and he sees all this. He's so disapproving and like she's fucking
She's like
hilarious.
covered the
Yeah,
she's covered up the picture.
yeah.
And I mean, there's none of that in this. For a movie that
Mhm.
leans into comedy heavily or the camp, it's missing. It's missing
It's
characters
it's
outside
a
of the
campy movie that was
killers.
taking itself too seriously. Is
Yeah,
what
there's
the
nobody
movie
who's
was.
there's nobody in it that's that. Olivia plays it very straight in the original film, but everyone around her, especially Margot and the headmistress, are hilarious. And then even like the cops, the goofball cop and John
Mhm.
Saxon's even pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I don't think I've
And the
ever seen
guy
him
with them.
smile in a movie as much as I did in that in Black Christmas. It was weird, like, oh, he smiles?
We didn't even mention Arthill, is that his name? Played the hockey player boyfriend
Yeah, he was in
uh,
a
in his fur
couple
coat.
of Cronenberg movies,
Oh,
right? Well, he
yeah.
was first of all he was in
Yeah, he was in a couple other horror movies.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers,
He's in Porky's
Cronenberg's,
too.
huh? I can't
He's in
fucking think of the name
Porky's
of
as
that
well, I think.
movie. The Brood.
Yeah,
Have you ever seen The Brood? Yeah, he was in The Brood.
yeah.
He's the lead in that. Anyway, yeah.
So
So
I think that's where the remake kind of. I don't find the the girls as interesting as the originals.
they're not.
But the characters are, And another thing is like there's another big difference is we never see the killer in the original movie at all. We see his eye, we see a shadow, but it's almost all hidden. Whereas in the sequel or remake, we get to see not one but two killers pretty well.
Yeah, and Agnes or whatever looked like she was a dude. So
It was.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, of course, she was as a result of inbreeding, which is that scene was super gross.
That was fucked up.
Yeah, they went with some shock value with this movie as well.
Yeah.
But I
And
don't know.
again,
I
the
had fun with it.
guy, and again, the filmmaker said that was all the Weinsteins pushing it, all that stuff.
Well, that makes
He
sense because they're gross. Well, the
because
one is.
he said he was really good friends with Bob Clark, and he had Bob's blessing, and Bob liked what he was going to do with it, and all that backstory came from Bob. I think they had developed the stuff, and you listen to the call, and that's what Billy's saying. He's talking about Agnes, mom. He's playing Agnes, and all those calls. They just kind of showed us what that was the backstory Billy was already going through in the original film verbally.
Mhm.
Uh, so I think, if anything, the power of the part of the original is that they leave it ambiguous, and the killer caught. Like, it still ends, and he's still in the house, and I mean, her body's still up there, though no one knows. Oh, I think it's a creepy movie. I think it had the same creepy atmosphere, sound design that kind of Evil Dead gave me when I watched Evil Dead the first time, the original Evil Dead. There's
Hmm.
a there's gave me a similar feel.
Okay. Except any final words on the Black Christmas movies before we wrap up?
Yeah, I like the original a lot. Um, Interesting thing too is when I was watching it last night or the night before, I was at the end when I had to have the kids brush their teeth to go to bed, and so they were brushing their teeth and they were watching like the final act of the movie pretty much, and
Which
I
one?
guess that the original.
Okay.
Um, and that one part where Olivia goes into the room, she sees her dead friends, and then there's that shot of Billy's eye looking through the door there. That actually really creeped out my oldest daughter. Um, she did not want to go to bed. Um,
Really?
yeah, so I thought that was that
Ah,
was pretty cool.
Oh
Um,
yeah. What did Lily think,
that was
Nate?
creepy. Man, he's something like Agnes or what?
yeah,
Um, yeah, she watched both of them. Um, my wife and daughter didn't really care for the remake. They thought it was really silly. They were just like, "What the hell?" I think they liked the original. Uh,
I watched the remake by myself. Helena was enjoying the remake. I mean the original, but she didn't get to finish it. She kept saying, "Is that Norman Bates'
and they made
mom?"
me turn off the 2019.
Yeah, well, rightfully so. But the funny part was every time Olivia Hussey was on the screen, Helena was like, "Is that Norman Bates' mom?" Because we had just watched Psycho 4. Yeah, so
Before,
anyway, that's underrated. I like that movie. Just saying. Anyway, so next week we're going to talk
yeah,
about Krampus,
I
right?
do like that movie.
Yeah, I think overall the Psycho films are it's a solid 4 movies, and we've never talked about the sequels, have we?
no, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so either.
I mean, I
Anyway,
think part two would be a. Did we ever talk original?
let me look. I have every episode, and I have a list now because I hated not knowing. Give me just a second. I'll look because I don't remember. I
I
try to
think we
keep
may
you
have done the
guys.
original film.
Yeah. Um. Son of a bitch. Oh, got too many documents, guys. I thought we did. So I remember
I think we did.
talking about THS past shows are
I could
okay.
see us
Anyway,
doing. I mean, they're all pretty good, but I think Psycho 2
we did do
deserves to be in
Psycho.
a conversation of the best slashers of the '80s.
Yeah,
It, it's
I can't deny that movie. It's really good. I like three a lot though too. I think three's a little bit better than most people
three's
think.
good, very weird.
Yeah, we talked about that the fellatio scene.
I love
Um,
John does a. I like what I love about that scene where they're laughing is that laughing, but he's laughing at the incompetence of the cop first, and then he looks at the paper and goes, "What the fuck?" Just loses it. And he's like, and that's when he starts in another way. At first, he's laughing at his incompetence, not laughing at the fact that this guy wrote fellatio.
Something dirty, isn't
Something dirty, isn't it?
it? That's a good
Something
scene.
about that guy's delivery. It made me think of. It made me Chris Cooper for some reason. So,
So, all right, let's wrap this bad boy up because I got a date with the toilet. Sorry. Uh, Next week we'll be talking about Krampus, and it may be our last episode of the year of 2022. I'm not sure yet. I know in 2023 early on we'll be doing our top whatever number we decide of 2022.
let's do
Have we?
let's do Cramp. Let's do
You want to do
Krampus
Krampus?
and Night of the Comet together.
Okay,
Huh?
that's fine by me. That's a weird deal.
We didn't talk about Night of the Comet, but I kind of want to. I want to. Well, I want to talk
I
about
love
because you
Night of
said
the Comet,
is it
man.
Christmas?
It's Thanksgiving. Is it? It is Christmas
Yeah, I
though, isn't
want to
it?
talk about that
Yeah,
movie because like yeah, I think it is Christmas.
fine by me. We can talk about
So
whatever.
I just want to.
Oh my God, I didn't tell you about this.
Yeah, I think
So at the store today, I picked up the little notepad for Helena. It was pink. I just thought it was cute. It was like $1, so I picked it up for her and a new pen. And I got home and I gave, or she got home and I gave it to her. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I needed a new notebook." I was like, "Why?" She's like, "I want to write my own Night of the Comet." So, because she watched that last week and it had a huge impact on her apparently. So I don't know if she's writing fan fiction or what, but the lead character's name's April. I know that much. So, and there's a guy named Lester. So, Lester's barking again. So I guess next week we'll do that. We'll do Night of the Comet, which is on Shutter, and Krampus, which I think it's on Peacock or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. That'll be fun. I will say I keep forgetting Night of the Comet takes place, you know, around Christmas. I could add that to my favorite Christmas movies list that I'm getting ready to put out on the horrorsyndicate.com.
yeah,
On
got
Friday,
to add that.
yeah, because I have, well, like I wanted to do 20, and I made my list, and I have not seen 20. I've only seen 16, so I'm like, I'll just do 16. And it's funny because when I started writing the article, I was like, I'm not going to
It's
put
kind
every
of
Silent Night,
shocking.
Deadly Night on here, and I did. But
Shocking
yeah,
about Christmas horror is there's not a lot, and there's a lot of shitty ones. It's a lot of shitty Christmas horror.
well, there's still a lot I
I don't
haven't
know why.
seen. I still haven't seen P2. I haven't seen
There's a lot.
that's
There's well, there's just a lot of goofy like Gingerbread Man or
oh, I won't include that.
Santa
Yeah,
Sleigh or it's always these puns and things
Sleigh
like
Bells.
and it's like God that the bottom of the barrel horror movie stuff or the good ones and you get like Gremlins. The fact that everyone's either like Black Christmas or Gremlins, that just goes to show like there really aren't that many to beat. It's kind of like Halloween. What's the best Halloween? Because there aren't that many Halloween horror movies.
Well, I really like Anna and
Set
the
on Halloween.
Apocalypse. By the that's one of my favorites. Anna and the
Yeah,
Apocalypse.
that's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with Dial. What is it? Code M for Santa or something like that. Have you ever seen that one? It's I think it's German or something like that. It's a weird one.
Have you have you gotten around the side yet?
Huh? You broke up.
Have you watched Inside yet? French
No, and I don't know where to find it.
Inside.
So yeah, Inside. I haven't seen it.
Wow, because it's Christmas
Yeah, I saw that when I was
and it's
looking up Christmas horror
probably
movies.
top three.
Yeah, I need to find that one. Anyway, so we'll do that next week with Night of the Comet. We didn't really talk about Night of the Comet, unfortunately. I thought we were going to, but we ended up talking about a lot of other shit last week. So we'll get deeper into Night of the Comet because that movie's a lot of fun. And a little bit about Krampus. On Friday, Seth and I will be back, I think, doing his favorite Friday 13th movie. So that'll be fun. And
Hey, I might join you. That's cool.
yeah, that's fine by me. And then the week after that, we're gonna do a ranking of
Okay,
these
I'll
movies.
watch it.
Yeah, yeah, enjoy. I don't need to ever watch another Friday the 13th movie to talk about them. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna rewatch it, but I don't really
Well,
need to.
I
You
do.
know?
I haven't seen them enough to like. They're not like my Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween movies. Like
Yeah.
I've probably seen Final Chapter maybe four times, five times,
It seems like the old show that we did with Brian
maybe
and
probably five.
Lombardo, we talked about fucking Jason all the time. So, you know, I don't know. Anyway, that's the plan. Next week we will be doing some Night of the Comets, some more Christmas stuff. We're counting down the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies on Friday. Supernatural, can't talk. Supernatural Syndicate on Tuesday. So a lot of stuff going on. The HorrorSyndicate.com's got a lot of cool shit too. Nate's got a pretty cool article up about Halloween. Seth, what you just did? What did you just do? I can't remember.
Horror Hall of Fame,
Oh,
American
that's
Werewolf.
right. Yeah. Fuck the Horror Hall of Fame. He wrote this fantastic article about, and I had to read it in my fucking the sickest I was over the weekend in my delirium. An American Werewolf in London. So a lot of cool stuff. And anybody who watches this far, if you haven't subscribed yet, go to hell. We'll see. We'll see y'all next week. I'm gonna go drop two, and I'll talk to everybody later. Bye. Drop two means go poop.